Summary of Clybourne Park by Bruce Norris. The whole play takes place in the same house in the Clybourne Park neighborhood. In 1959, the first act happens on a Saturday afternoon. Bev and Russ Stoller are getting ready to move closer to Russ's job, so they are packing up their house. Francine, their helper, has come to help them pack, but it's clear that she doesn't want to work on the weekend. Bev and Russ's marriage has been getting worse since their son, Kenneth, who was a soldier of the Korean War and was accused of killing civilians, killed himself. Russ is definitely depressed, and Bev doesn't know how to deal with that. She has asked Jim, a minister in the area, to come over. Jim tries to talk to Russ about how he feels, but it doesn't work. Carl Linder and his wife Betsy, who live next door to Bev and Russ, show up in the middle of the first act. Carl doesn't tell the Stollers why he's there at first, but then he says that he found out that a black family has bought the Stollers' house. He offered them money not to move into the neighborhood, but they turned it down. Now, Carl is trying to persuade the Stollers to stop selling their house. When the talk turns to their son Kenneth, Russ and Bev get angry that they have to defend a community that was rude and unwelcoming to their son. This leads to a violent fight. Albert, Francine's husband, comes to take her home, but he ends up helping Kenneth move a footlocker and then talking about whether he and Francine would like to move to a white neighborhood like Clybourne Park. Carl and Betsy end up leaving the house because of Russ. After that, Jim, Francine, and Albert also leave. Bev and Russ are left on stage, where they think about what their lives will be like in the quiet neighborhoods. In 2009, the second act happens on a Saturday afternoon. Lena and Kevin, who are black and live in the Clybourne Park neighborhood, are going to meet Lindsay and Steve, who are white and just bought Lena and Kevin's house. Both sets of people come to the meeting with lawyers. The lawyer for Lena and Kevin is named Tom, and the lawyer for Lindsay and Steve is named Kathy. Together, the couples and their lawyers try to figure out a proposed set of rules about what can and can't be changed. These rules were made by a neighborhood group that wants to keep the historic character of the homes in the neighborhood. But the discussion never moves forward. What starts out as small talk turns into a fight about the historical value of the neighborhood versus its new business value. Kevin and Lena worry that Lindsay and Steve are the start of a wave of gentrification that will push them and other black families out of Clybourne Park. On the other hand, Lindsay and Steve feel like they are being attacked for just trying to buy and fix up a house. The conversation goes completely off the rails when Steve tells an offensive joke that makes the rest of the group tell even more offensive jokes, which almost leads to a fight. Dan, a contractor, has been digging in the garden for most of the second act. Dan keeps coming into the house to ask about a trunk he found buried in the garden. It turns out that Kenneth owned the trunk, and in the last few seconds of the play, after Kevin, Lena, Steve, Lindsay, Kathy, and Tom have all left the house, the trunk is opened. When Dan opens the box, he finds Kenneth's note. In 1959, as Dan reads, he can see Kenneth coming down the stairs. He sits by a window and starts writing his note to himself. When Bev comes in and asks what he's doing, he tells her he's going to a job interview. "I really think things are about to get better," she says.
About the author. Norris has been interested in theater since he was young. In 1982, he got a degree in theater from the School of Communication at Northwestern University. After he graduated from college, he worked as an actor. In 1985, he was in Biloxi Blues on Broadway, but the endless rejection that comes with the job soon turned him off. His first play, The Actor Retires, which came out in 1991, was about being turned down, and it was a big turning point in his career. Over the next 25 years, Norris wrote 11 plays. Clybourne Park, 2010, which won the Olivier Prize for Best New Play, a Tony, and a Pulitzer, is the most well-known.
Hope we summarized it fully and you liked it. Please hit the like button and subscribe to our channel so that we are motivated to create more videos.